Welcome back to Pika Collects. Today we're going to be opening Twilight Masquerade ETB that we picked up from GameStop because it was worth it to us. And we're going to talk a little bit about this thing called Pokemon investing, and I'm going to decide if I'm actually going to post this video. So let's get started. Did I bring scissors? Of course not. As is tradition. So anyway, Pokemon investing. There's a little corner of the social media world that has like a handful of influencer type Pokemon channels around Pokemon investing. Ooh. I haven't opened an ETB in a while. I'm excited. Okay, what are the top chases? Oops. Okay, so artwork-wise, this is fine. Like, straightforward. That's a Pokemon card. I really like this. I just picked this up this weekend. This is kind of cute. This is fine. Like, it's cool artwork, but I don't have like emotional attachment to the Pokemon, so it's just not for me. I wanted to get this one this weekend and I didn't. I like this art. I like this art. I like this art and picked it up in a PSA 10 recently. I like that art, picked it up raw. That's cool, but not much emotional connection to the Pokemon. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Nature. That's unique. I love Snorlax. This is my favorite. This one right here. I bought this in a PSA 10 for $160 at a local game show at it's low. And I was not expecting to look 2 weeks later and seeing that it's worth $270 dollars. But of course, anyone buying it would take off, like, unless I sold it on eBay or something, people buying it would take off 80% if I just brought it into like a vendor. Trainer art. I do think that art is pretty. This art is unique. I can't really tell what's going on. Like, it's hard to see the Pokemon, if I'm being real. That's pretty. I know people freak out about this one. If it's textured, then I haven't seen this in person, actually. Or like actually like looked at it. Like, it's fine. That's a pretty one. I love anything with Pikachu cameo. I just learned that that's what it's called when there's Pokemon in the background, but it's not like their own card. It's a cameo. That's cute. Pretty. That's funny to me. Yeah. I haven't opened any of this set yet, and so I'm very interested. But so Pokemon investing is something where you go in to buy usually a graded card or a sealed box and hope that the price of it goes up so that you could sell it in the future in the same condition you bought it in, and it would be worth more. You can do this with raw cards that are not graded if you want, but they're more likely, they're not very likely to ever go over like 100 or 150. Like, the ones that break that are like the cards that are worth getting in their raw form. Otherwise, it just doesn't make that big of a difference. Wow, that's a lot of packs. So really, the ones that seem like they're to be taken seriously are when you buy graded cards in a PSA 10 or Beckett Black Label, or when you buy sealed product, especially sealed product that is going out of print. So I've spent an interesting amount of money on product that has just arrived, because that's the entry point I felt most comfortable buying into. I wasn't comfortable spending hundreds of dollars initially, but 60, yeah, I could do that. And then I'd have it, because it seems like the best time to get it is when it first comes out. So I just kind of casually started doing that as I found out more about Pokemon card investing. We're going to stack these according to artwork. Ooh, that's pretty. Mm. 3, 2, 2, 2. Alrighty. Actually, I like this one the least. Sorry. So I started buying some like ETBs, booster bundles, just buying it so that I have one extra. Like I haven't opened Black Bolt yet because I've only been able to buy one ETB at a price I'm comfortable with. So I just haven't opened it. I want to buy one to keep in my collection for now. And then anything extra I can look at opening. Not like anything, but, you know, a set I've never broken an ETB for. That's less than $100. That's nice. I do think there is a real danger in the Pokemon investing space of like going in too hard, too fast. I've finally started leveling out, but for the first month or 2 or 3, like I justified it the first month by saying it was my birthday month. But then I spent a lot of money the next month, and I was like, okay, maybe you start slowing down. And then I didn't slow down. Ooh, pretty. It's also fun just to, it's pretty colors, man. Pokemon cards are cool, okay? All the cool ones are holographic. Dang. I didn't like this art that much previously. Just looking at it on the website, but now I see it in person. I'm like, oh, that actually looks really good to me. That might be bias coming on in. Okay, so I just put them in a sleeve and a top loader, which is also something you're going to want to be doing if you get any card that you want to exchange with another person. That's pretty. I like what they did with the holographics with these. I wonder if there's like any good ace spec pink cards that are worth collecting. That's an interesting question. But anything that could like potentially be worth more than $2, you just kind of just protect it. It doesn't cost that much. You can easily buy in bulk. You can buy like 2,000 of these for $40. So, you know, just, you don't know what cards could be worth $15 if you didn't trash them. And unfortunately, sometimes I trash, well, you know, I pretty much only played Pokemon cards when I was little, so my habits with cards aren't the best. I'm used to just sticking them in my back pocket, putting a rubber band around them. I would totally have pinned some to my wall if I had thought about that. I saw a video of a girl who came in and was it a girl or a guy? Well, a person who came in and was like, I have these really rare cards from a long time ago, but they have holes in them because I pinned them to the wall. And it's like, what do you even do with that for like a $200 card? Is it still worth $200? Or is it like that's real, that type of money to me could make a real difference. And so I guess I just don't mess around. So anyway, I have been thinking, because I opened some Pokemon packs, and then I realized it was really expensive to do so. And I wanted to open more. And that actually, the best way to open more Pokemon cards is to get Pokemon cards that make money for you over time. Because then you can sell them in the future and get something new you wanted. And until recently, I thought the cards that I really liked, I would like forever. And then I was looking at one of the cards I got, and I was like, I'm kind of over this one. This was like my first it was my first actual slab. 10 of an art I liked, of a Pokemon I liked, that was part of a duo. It was the Latias or Latios, the cheaper one in a PSA 10. Because I saw the two of them, and it pretty much, it and the Eevee card is what got me back into Pokemon. And I was looking at the cards I had gotten recently, and I realized that that card didn't make the top 5 anymore. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. But it's also kind of great because I have like more reasons for liking the cards that I have now than I had before. Like, first requirement is usually that I like the art. That is what I will put money towards, is if I like the art. So I think that's actually what got me back into the hobby, is this new era. Blissey! If it's a Pokemon I like, I don't care what size the hit is, or rarity the hit is. Okay. Anyway. Pretty. So the number one requirement is I like the art. And then sometimes there's other things like, oh, this is actually one of my favorite artists. So I'm kind of collecting all my favorite artist stuff. What did I do with that? There we go. 4 left. So basically, the point of this video, what I wanted to talk about today, is I went to a card show this past weekend. I went to something called PokeFest that sold other things, but in general it was a card show. And there were other like card vendors there too. And I, for the first time, bought some cards that I liked. They're in a PSA 10, but they're like brand new. They just came out in recent sets, and no one knows if they're going to be, how popular they're going to be, because they're not that rare. It's just the art that sets them apart. And so I went looking for cheap PSA 10 slabs at this card show. And that's not what I thought I was looking for. I knew I was looking for one of them, but I wasn't looking for the 3 I got. And so I'll take a break from ripping just to show real quick. These are the 3 that I was like, I like the art in here, and I would want it in a PSA 10. And it's less than $100. Most of them, the most I paid was $65, and the other 2 were below $50. So for me, that's a pretty good deal. That's where my finances are, where I don't really mind Like if I go out to eat and I have to spend $40 on a meal, I'm not worried about paying my rent the next day. I have enough flexibility to do that. And so I decided to go into these three as investments into art I like. And that is what I guess I'm thinking about kind of making a series about, is how that goes. Partly, because I'd like there to be like physical evidence if this starts getting out of hand, kind of as an accountability thing, because I do think the gambling aspect of Pokemon cards is a real draw. Like, that's what kind of the market is based around. And you know, there are people who open up 200 Pokemon packs on their birthdays, and they think that that's not a lot. And if I do that, I want to be able to be like, that was a lot. That was something I can do very rarely. Oh man, it's a cloudy one. Look, it's like, there's so much texture. And then you put it in here, and it's like, why do they make the sleeves suck? Ugh. Sometimes the sleeves just suck. Oh, I should put that in a thing. Like, you can't even tell you can barely tell it's textured in this sleeve. That, like, really doesn't help the card. Okay, 2 more. Exciting. So I've never opened Twilight Masquerade. And I just got a new binder, so I get to see how close to a master set I can be. Which seems like a fun thing to collect. And the other thing about Pokemon, it seems like the more niche you are, the better it is. The more you're like, I'm going to get an art I like, but all the ones of this specific artist. I'm going to get all of the arts of this one Pokemon in PSA 10s. Like, wow, shiny. When you get very specific, or all the EX ups of a specific Pokemon that I like, yeah, that's probably the most cost efficient way to do it. That means I have to change how I've been collecting Snorlax and Pikachu. Anyway, not in PSA 10s though, just because I'm like, I don't have the money for that. I'm just collecting them because I think they're cards that will go up in value, and I like the Pokemon. I think Gengar is another one that apparently just always goes up in value. That definitely wouldn't hurt to collect. I think I might start doing that, actually. Because apparently Gengar cards always go up. So to do that, I can look at sets that have Gengar in them. Ooh, that's weird. I guess getting a stamped is a hit in this set. Interesting. Or is this it's a reverse holo. It's a different type of reverse holo. Okay. I'm still figuring out also what all the cards are. It is confusing. I don't get it. Yeah. I am going to protect you, because I don't yet know if you're actually stamped or if that's just a type of Pokemon. when in doubt, sleeve. That's just a good rule to live by. Okay, so those are some of my thoughts on Pokemon investing. I've gotten into, missed this guy, most of the sealed ETBs, and I'm working on booster bundles right now, and maybe once I build up my savings a bit more, maybe I'll look at buying booster boxes, but I want to get to 6 months of income safety net. I think that would be really comforting to have in the bank, since that's what everyone recommends for your life not to fall apart when if you go broke or if you lose your job. And so I want to work on that before I spend a lot more money on Pokemon, and that's where my extra income is going to go towards. And that is a wrap. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a good day. Bye. One last thing, promo cards. That also seems like something that's good to invest into. It might be because they're on a run right now, and I haven't seen other things go on a run like this, but it seems like promo cards or the sealed items they come in are worth something in the future that is not insignificant. And so Scarlet and Violet ETBs might be worth more in the future than we think, because look at 151 ETB costs more than an Evolving Skies ETB right now, and it's been out less time. So I'm like, so it looks to me like 151 is outpacing Evolving Skies, but that's just me. Anyway, don't throw away your promo cards, because sometimes they get stuck in the box and you forgot about it until later, where you go, wait, wasn't there supposed to be a promo card in that? Yeah. Anyway, have a good one.